The top business stories live from the Sky newsroom. Heathrow's chief executive tells me that planes could be taking off from a third runway by 2035 as he announces a multi-billion-pound expansion plan to create extra capacity. Appalled and disgusted, the boss of Abercrombie and Fitch gives me her reaction to sex trafficking allegations made against her predecessor. Plus, we'll hear from the president of China's XPeng Motors about why they see a big opportunity in the British markets. A very good morning and welcome to Business Live with me, Darren McCaffrey. Heathrow's chief executive has told me that planes could be taking off from a third runway at the airport by 2035. Thomas Wilby was speaking from British Steel in Scunthorpe as he announced a multi-billion-pound plan at expanding the capacity at the airport. He told me that the plans would help boost growth with billions of pounds going into supply chains across the UK. And I began by asking him what today's announcement was all about.
Today is all about really starting the expansion and announcing starting the expansion of Heathrow. So all the work that we're going to do in the next couple of years, which has already been agreed, but also the work and all the investments going into the next 5 to 10 years to increase capacity within the current perimeter, that will prepare us for a third runway in the coming future.
And you're doing this in conjunction with British Steel?
We're doing this in conjunction with British Steel because we think it is really important that everybody understands that this is a project for all of the UK. We need backing from all of the UK to make this project a success, and all of the UK will benefit from the success of this project.
Isn't that the argument, though, from critics, that this is a bit of a stunt in the sense that you've gone to Scunthorpe today because you want to feel that this is a UK project, when ultimately it is called London Heathrow? This is an airport primarily for London and for the South.
I don't agree with that. This is truly a project for all of the UK. During the project, we'll be investing billions of pounds. Those billions of pounds will flow into supply chains all over the UK, also here in Scunthorpe, where we're already spending £158 million this year in the supply chain here. And that is what's happening all over the UK, in Ireland, in Wales. So, no, I don't agree with that. Billions of pounds will be flowing into all of the UK.
And the third runway is now go. You are fully behind this third runway finally getting underway.
We are fully behind it, and we will be presenting our proposal for how a third runway could be built and what it takes to government when summer comes.
And how important has that government support been, Rachel Reeves' support?
That support is crucial because there are building blocks that need to be built together with government that we as Heathrow cannot, so to speak, build on our own. There are areas around regulation, around airspace modernization, which are not areas that we control alone. We need to work together with government to make that happen, also with our airlines.
Talking about the government, today you're talking about private investments. For a third runway, will taxpayers' money be needed to make that happen?
There are no taxpayers' money needed to deliver what is agreed with government under the National Policy Statement. These are all private investments.
But I mean, for the third runway, no taxpayer money for the third runway?
Yes. No taxpayer money for the third runway.
On what timescale are we looking at here, Thomas? You know, some people are saying this is not going to happen until maybe 2040.
Our ambition, together with government, is to deliver a permit by the end of this Parliament and to deliver the runway by the end of the next Parliament. That is ambitious, and it does require cooperation from government, and we are prepared to deliver just that.
So you're suggesting that planes could be taking off by 2034?
2035, something like that, yes.
OK. What would you say to critics of the runway on environmental grounds? You know, this is a country that's committed to net zero. You know what? A third runway...
And we are also...
Well, but a third runway is against that, isn't it? It's not environmentally friendly, let's be honest about it.
I think that we need to balance economic growth and prosperity with climate conditions. And there are climate conditions. The third runway will not be delivered unless it lives up to the agreement made with the government under the ANPS. In itself, of course, there will be planes flying, but we also have to realize that economic growth cannot be blocked. We need to deliver both for the economy and for the climate.
So your message to environmentalists is ultimately, at the moment, growth is more important?
I would not say growth is more important. I think both is equally important, and we can deliver for growth. Heathrow is the airport where we have by far the highest uptake of sustainable aviation fuels already, for example. So we are on the right path, and planes will not be flying for the next 10 years, while net zero advancements will be made in the next 10 years.
Just a couple of more questions, if I can, Thomas. First of all, just on the expense of Heathrow, many airlines, many passengers, many campaigners feel that the charges at Heathrow are simply too high for not a good service.
Well, I think to that I will say, first of all, we are rated as one of the best airports in the world, so I think generally there is a good service at Heathrow. We want to make it better, and a third runway is exactly one of the ways to do that. One of the challenges we have today is that capacity is constrained, and hence we need to expand in order to create more capacity, give better conditions for our airlines, give better punctuality, and ultimately be able to give better cost, because right now we're just investing in an area that doesn't increase the number of passengers. We want to increase the number of passengers, which is what our competitors outside of the UK are doing.
And just finally, on the UK itself and growth that you talked about, I mean, we haven't got growth in the UK at the moment. Are you confident that the UK is a good place for business, that this government is genuine about that?
I'm confident that the travel market will continue to grow globally, and I'm confident that if Heathrow and the UK wants to keep our market share of that market, we need to expand Heathrow, otherwise we're going to fall behind.
And why do you say that a third runway is going to lead to growth? Because ultimately, we're talking about more than a decade here. We don't know what things are going to be like in a decade's time, what travel habits might be in a decade. How can you guarantee that it's going to bring growth? And how much growth?
Well, giving guarantees are always difficult in a changing world, but what we can see is that people want to travel more. There are billions of people literally in the world that have not traveled, who wants to travel. And there is a market out there that will continue to grow, and we need the infrastructure in order to cater for that market, and that is what we are building. I am not concerned really about the demand. I am much more concerned about having the capacity to actually fulfill that demand.
There you go, that was Thomas Wolby, the Chief Executive of Heathrow Airport in Scunthorpe, making that announcement about Heathrow's expansion plans and essentially firing the starting gun, if you like, on a third runway at Heathrow. Will it happen? He seems to think it will, and that planes could be taking off in just over a decade's time. Others are suggesting it could take a hell of a lot longer, even if it happens at all. Let's bring you up to date with the rest of the business news on this Wednesday morning. And Thames Water has been investigated over late delivery of environmental improvement schemes. The regulator Ofwat said the enforcement case against the company, currently fighting to secure its financial future amid a £19 billion debt pile, aimed to determine whether it had breached its legal obligations. The watchdog said that Thames Water itself had been in contact to alert it and the Environment Agency that it will be unlikely to deliver more than 100 of the 812 improvements it had promised by the end of next month. Angela Rayner has insisted that the government can meet its target to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years, as ministers pledged an extra £350 million for house building. An additional 300 million quid has been injected to the Affordable Homes programme, and Move ministers believe will allow 2,800 additional homes to be built. The chief executive of Coca-Cola has said they may have to sell more drinks in plastic bottles if Donald Trump's tariffs make aluminium cans more expensive. Executives across industries reliant on steel and aluminium imports are scrambling to offset the cost of the US president's move to put 25% tariffs on those metals. Let's have a look at how the markets are doing this morning. And as you can see, actually, they're all up at varying amounts in Asia. I think it's a picture. Let's have a look at how it is in Europe today. Again, all doing pretty well apart from the CAC 40, which is down just merely a fraction, though. Here in London, the FTSE 100 is also up, but barely, just up 0.06%. And let's have a look at how the currencies are doing on this Wednesday morning. And again, very little movement overall. The pound is at 125 against the dollar and down merely a fraction, but still at 120 against the euro. And don't forget, you can get more on the markets. Oh, I forgot about the oil. There you go. Brent crude down just over 1% at $76 a barrel. And if you want more on oil, or indeed any of that, just go to the Money blog on the Sky News app, or indeed the Sky News website. All you need to do is scan the QR code that's on your screen now. Now, appalled and disgusted, that's how the new chief executive of Abercrombie & Fitch has described allegations of sex trafficking made against her predecessor, Mike Jeffries. Van Horowitz told me that the American fashion brand has transformed and reinvented itself over the past decade. She was speaking for the brand's new flagship store on London's Oxford Street, and I began the interview by asking her why physical shops still hold such a key place, especially when it comes to buying clothes for consumers.
Yeah, hey Darren, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here in London, standing in one of our beautiful new stores right here on Oxford Street. Stores matter. Stores are very important to us. They're very much a part of what we do. What I like to say is it's the magic. We have stores, we have digital, and then the consumer can choose to shop whatever, wherever, and however they choose to shop with us, giving them a seamless experience.
And what about the clothes themselves? I mean, I think there'll be a lot of people, and I'm among them, who look at Abercrombie & Fitch and think, oh, I remember that when I was a kid 20 years ago. How's the brand evolved, essentially, for younger customers today?
Yeah, so great question. Listen, when you think about the past of Abercrombie & Fitch, we were essentially a casual jeans and T-shirt company. We have really been able to evolve way beyond that. We are a lifestyle brand where we offer that customer opportunities to wear our clothing, whether they're going to work, whether they're celebrating with their friends, whether they're working out. You know, we've introduced so many new categories. I mean, first of all, we've upped the age. So when you say younger customers, you know, our consumer today starts shopping with us in their early 20s. They stay with us well into their 40s. And we provide things like our Best Dressed Guest collection, which is right behind me today. That is an opportunity for our female shopper to wear those dresses out to different events, whether they're going to bachelorette parties or weddings. We also have something called the Sloan pant, which is the pant that she wears to work, and she can also wear that out at night if she chooses so, to go out for dinner with her friends. So many different lifestyles that we didn't have to offer before. Great new categories and a well-expanded age cohort.
And you're in London, of course. What is it about the UK that's still appealing? You know, we've got very little economic growth at the moment. The high street isn't doing well, but you still think the UK is a good place to be?
Absolutely. The UK is our second largest business. We've had terrific growth here. You know what I always say, despite the economic times, the customer has a choice on where to shop, and they have been choosing us. When the team lines up their product, their voice, and their experience, and the customer loves what they're seeing, they come in and they certainly spend money. Again, they have a choice on where to shop. They're choosing us. We're very, very close to our customers, so we're listening to what's important to them, what kind of value that they're looking for, what kind of quality and product. And when you offer that, it all comes together, and the customer makes a choice and chooses you.
Now, Fran, you've been with Abercrombie & Fitch for, I think, about a decade or so. I think it's fair to say the company's had a pretty difficult couple of years, hasn't it? How are you dealing with the reputational damage that's been caused in the last couple of years?
Yes, so I have been here for a decade, and the company is a completely different place than it was a decade ago. I'm very, very proud of the company that we have built today. The values that we represent, the associates, could not be prouder of where we are today.
Have you taken measures? I mean, we're not going to get into, obviously, the allegations around Mike Jeffries, but as the company, have you taken measures to protect employees and people associated with the company?
Listen, we are appalled and disgusted at the allegations. What we do at Abercrombie is continue to do what we set out to do, which is set the new values for the company, and keep our associates focused on that.
In saying that, I mean, again, coming back to my experience of your store, I remember, there were scantily clad, particularly young men there. Do you think that was the wrong thing to do? That's something that you guys wouldn't do today?
Yeah, I think today we're focused on who the consumer is today, what's important to them, what their priorities are. That's how we continue to keep the company moving forward, staying very close to the consumer, spending a lot of time with them. The teams spend a lot of time in their lifestyle, making sure that they understand what's important to them, which is their long weekends, time with their friends, different experiences that they're having. And that's what we represent, and certainly in all of our marketing today. No,
and I get that, Fran, and I don't want to hammer this, but let's be frank about this. There are very serious allegations. It is associated with the company. I get that you argue things have changed, but frankly, for a lot of consumers, the brand is tarnished, and that is difficult for you, surely.
The allegations, the things that happened in the company were over a decade ago, and we have spent a decade really transforming and reinventing this company, and that's what the team is focused on today. Where we are today, what matters to our consumer, putting out great quality product for them, and truly understanding what matters to them.
Okay, just two final questions if I can. One of them is actually on boardroom diversity. We know that a lot of, particularly US companies in the last couple of months, have said that they're going to stop essentially these diversity and inclusion targets. What's your feeling about that?
I think what's important is to have a diverse thought, whether that's in your boardroom or whether that's in your company, in your leadership team. I'm very proud of the board that we have built. We've done a lot to, again, like the rest of the company, transform our board. We've got a terrific board today. In fact, we were all here together back in May, walking through the city, seeing the opportunities and really understanding where the company is headed.
And just very finally, I mean, the share price has taken a bit of a hit in recent times, but sales are pretty strong. Are you optimistic about the health of this company going into 2025?
Listen, I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. 2023, as I've said many times, was a defining year for the company. We put up profit growth and sales growth that were really terrific. We came back in 24 and we did it again. We have not reported our full year yet, but our expectations is certainly to deliver another strong year in 24, and I'm excited about what's ahead for us in 25.
Great. Fran, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the new stores in London.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it.
That's the boss of Abercrombie & Fitch saying she was appalled and disgusted by the allegations put to her predecessor. There's an ongoing court case, but clearly it is a company that is trying to move away from that scandal and opening new stores in London as well. You're watching Business Live here on Sky News. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be speaking to the chief executive of Xpeng, the car manufacturer from China that's planning to compete in the UK market. Stay tuned.
Big stories don't always come from big cities. I'm Lisa Dowd and I'm Sky's Midlands correspondent.
You are not getting in this elevator, okay?
The judge made it very clear that she could see no justifiable reason why Sakulas wasn't here facing British justice.
I promised I would get him justice.
Free, wherever you get your news. This is what they're up against. The wind is the really big problem. It is back-breaking work and the smoke is thick. It's been working well. Water levels are dropping, but no one knows what impact further rain will have. What would you do if this place wasn't open? This is the exact spot in Nottingham where their 19-year-old son, Barnaby Webber, lost his life.
I just think it's so cruel and so harsh.
It's really scary. We're terrified.
In this community, I'm told that everybody knows someone affected by COVID.
Hopefully this will be the last wave.
Sky News gets the full story first. Change seems tantalisingly close in this corner of the UK. Wales was the first to introduce the plastic bag charge. It's legal to let go. Set the speed and take the hands off. It's almost driverless, but not quite. Hans is a highly trained police dog. The force is incredible. It's really frightening, actually. This is my patch, my specialism. It's also my home.
Mandatory evacuation, you must leave!
For many people, Harvey is far from over.
People here believe the water will be this deep for weeks.
I'm Greg Milam, and I'm Sky's Chief North of England correspondent.
Are you trying to run me over, Sir Philip?
No, go away.
Look like it, sir. Will you respond to those who made accusations, Sir Philip?
Can you go away?
Sky News, the full story first.
Fly Emirates, fly better. Fly Emirates, fly better.
Very welcome back. Now, the president of the newest entrant to the UK electric vehicle market has told Sky News that British drivers' enthusiasm for electric cars and the absence of tariffs imposed in Europe represents a big opportunity for Chinese manufacturers. Dr. Brian Gu of Chopin Motors has been speaking to our business and economics correspondent, Paul Kelso, who's also been getting inside the car.
This is an XPeng G6. Its significance isn't just that it's a nice new electric vehicle you'll be able to buy in Britain soon. It's a Chinese electric vehicle, part of a wave of EVs from China that see an opportunity in the British market. There are a few reasons for that. China's got some advantages when it comes to EVs. They control the critical minerals trade, the battery technology. They enjoy subsidised industry. That means they can ship cars to the UK and Europe extremely competitively against existing manufacturers. There's also the fact in the UK there are no tariffs on Chinese cars. This car faces 25% tariffs if it's sold in the European Union. That's one of the questions people raise about doing business with China on a grand scale when it comes to electric vehicles. Another surrounds security, and I put those questions to the company's president.
We see a very, very big opportunity because we saw the market is growing very healthy, compared to the rest of Europe. I think UK, see continued growth. And also we actually see UK customers embracing new technologies. For example, Tesla is very successful here because I think we want to also bring the latest and most innovative technologies from China in our vehicles.
Do you see Tesla as your number one rival in this space? This vehicle, it's in the same category as I would say as the Y-Class Tesla, but it's, I think, significantly cheaper. Is that who you are competing against here?
Well, we're competing with all the players in this market, but given our technology background and also given our product features that talk about smartification, talk about leading powertrain technologies, we think we're going to compete with the leading models in this market, and Tesla Model Y is one of the leading models here.
Is one of the appeals of the UK market that there are no trade barriers here? You face tariffs as a Chinese manufacturer in Europe, but you face no tariffs in the UK. I mean, are you seeing this as an opportunity to shift product into a market where there are no barriers?
Well, I think, with no tariff, I think allows UK market to receive the best products around the world. But actually more important for this is to really introduce our product to one of the most important markets in the world for EVs. Like I said, UK is a large and an important market. Is also a market that represents actually the most focus from consumers around the world for right-hand driving models. So for us to be successful here is very important for not just selling number of vehicles, but also establishing the premium technology brand that we can actually advocate to global customers.
I wonder if manufacturers based here, many of the European manufacturers, should be worried that you can see the UK as a market too. I mean, the phrase in trade is dumping, but to pour your product, which doesn't face tariffs, into from your lower cost base in China, and to outcompete companies that are already established here.
Well, I think we are certainly not focused on quantity, but we focus on quality. We want to develop a market that actually our product can establish the right brand presence. We think we can bring the right product, can come with the most innovative technology, but also the most compelling value proposition to the customers.
You clearly launched in Europe before the UK. You'll know there's a great deal of discussion about tariffs and international trade. Would you like to see the European Union drop its tariffs for the other markets in Europe for you to
well, I think as a company, we always want to, make the trade friendlier to cross-border commerce. We always advocate for less frictions and barriers for trade. So, for us, if there are improvements in that front, we welcome that. But we're also fully prepared to compete in whatever conditions we're faced, because we think it's a long-term strategy for a young company to establish a global brand here.
I must ask you about security. We've seen Chinese companies that have enjoyed great penetration in the UK be forced out, Huawei from our communications network. There are concerns about the Chinese state's power to demand data from companies. How can you guarantee that British consumers will not have their data and their security compromised by buying an electric car from China?
Well, as a company currently operating in 30+ countries, we adhere to the most stringent data and privacy rules in every market that we enter. And our products and our sales speak for themselves. And I think we put the privacy and data security as the utmost focus for our business. So I think we will do whatever it takes and what is required to protect our customers.
Now, it should be said that the G6 and XPeng's other models are not bargain basement vehicles. They market themselves as a premium manufacturer, and this is in the same class as the Tesla Model Y, but it is much more competitive. It starts at under £40,000. This top-of-the-range model is £45,000. We should get used to Chinese cars. In January, there are more Chinese-branded electric vehicles registered in the UK than there were Teslas.
There you go, that was Paul Kelso. OK, that is it for me on Business Live for this morning. Back, of course, at 4:30 this afternoon. Do join me then if you can. Up next, it is Prime Minister's Questions, of course, live from the House of Commons. Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch. That is with Beth and Jane. Stay tuned to Sky News for PMQs.